So, VTubers, content creators that use a virtual model to represent themselves on the internet while they make their content. I've been watching them for a while since the big boom of the industry in 2020, and I thought, much like you probably also thought, I want to do that. I want to be a VTuber. How do I do it? Well, the easiest way would be to pay someone to make the art and the rig for you. Unfortunately, I suffer from a serious case of being born in a third world country, which means that commissioning an artist and a rigger was completely out of the question, at least for now. So I used my hyperfixation powers and decided to just make everything myself, because that's a very good idea that I could have. And I spent around 1 year trying to make a design that fit me. I did kind of give up in the middle of it and then completely changed my concept, but don't worry about that part. And then I got to the actual work. Sketching, line art, coloring, shading, separating the pieces, and then the resolution was too bad and I had to do everything over again. And then tragedy struck. I had already used my free life to do trial months before on a laptop that just died one day, so that's not really the model you're going to see here. Instead of that, I decided a few weeks ago to make a chibi model with simplified art style and a simpler rig so I could use the free version of Live2D and show everyone that wants to be a VTuber that you don't need to go into depth to start doing it. Before we jump into the process here, I just want to explain that since I use Clip Studio Paint's time-lapse recording, sometimes it's hard to see when I'm working on smaller details, so I'll try to zoom in to show them better. I'll leave the whole time-lapse here, but I won't be talking over everything, just a few points that I find important. As I was sketching the base proportions, I decided to go with the chibi style that I really like, where the body is around 2 heads tall and the lower legs are thicker than the thighs. I was using my other model as a reference here to make sure things would look right, especially in the head area with the face and hair, where the proportions change the most from a standard anime style model to a chibi. I use a brush with no pressure sensitivity as a way to keep the lines all the same width. For the torso, arms, legs, head and coat, I use thicker lines around 25 pixels, and for smaller parts such as the facial features, bodysuit and hair, I use the same brush but this time 12 pixels. I cleaned up the corners with a basic G-pen in areas like the hair, lashes and leg furs to make them more pointy to appear sharper. Around this point, I duplicated the model and started working on merging the layers and separating the parts for rigging. Since this was a smaller model, I was able to just duplicate the folders with the full body and have both the original and the final models on the same file, but you can always create a new file just to cut up the VTuber if you want. I also took time here to fix some things and add some expressions that I had forgotten, as well as the inside of the mouth that I also forgot about. Okay, and here we are with my Clip Studio Paint file of the model. Here we have the original model under here, and we have the end product. Before we start, there's one very important thing that I have to remember. That is, for you to rig on the free version of Live2D, you have to have a maximum 30 folders and 100 layers. Okay, please remember that, pay attention to that. I recommend that when you are merging your layers and separating, count down the amount of layers you have, because sometimes you think, nah, that's not 100, and then you put it on the program and you can't use that. Okay, so pay attention to that. All right, let's see the model. Here I made the whole model and I still had a bit of leeway to put some expressions on, at least on the art part, because there are some things that had to be taken out on the rigging part because I didn't have enough parameters. But I'm going to go into that on the rigging video, okay? So here I have my expression, angry. I have the expression of doom. I always use things with brackets to show how, like, to show when, like, things are different. So it's a little bit easier for me to recognize which part is which, especially because if you put colors on these, for example, like this, the colors don't transfer to Live 2D, so it's a bit, it might be a bit harder if you rely only on the colors, but you should use colors also if that helps you. So here I have the glasses. I separated the shines, but I merged everything else because I thought it would be easier for me to rig. I wouldn't have to use too many parameters. So, and I have the shadow mask. Here is tagged as shadow, but sometimes I tag as either with sh for shadow, of course, or mask for mask. I actually deleted this one because I didn't like the way it looked. So I don't have a shadow for the glasses, but it's pretty much imperceptible on the final rigging, so it doesn't make too much of a difference. And then I have the hair. Here's the thing, I included the shadows here. As you can see, it's just the hair duplicated. And I included them here mostly for me to be able to count them, because like there's a lot of shadows here. But when I was rigging, what I did was I rigged this side, and then I duplicated for the shadow, and then I duplicated and reflected to the other side, because it's an easier way to do it and you don't have to rig everything 2 times. Okay. Also, you might be asking me, why are the shadows red? Well, because this is also a mask. I'm not going to use this as the plain shadow. I use a technique where you duplicate the skin, the face skin, and you change the color of the skin to the color of the shadow, and then you clip this shadow to everything, to like the masks under the hair and everything, so they don't clip through each other. You don't have an overlap on the shadows. That's just a stylistic thing that I like it better this way, so I did that. Then we have the other side. We have the horns. We have the ears. The first time I was thinking about the separation, I did the hair, the ears all on their own, and only the little earring chains I left down. But then I realized that like if I left it separated, I could have a little bit more movement that maybe would look better, and it did. So that's how I separated. Each ear has a top, the shadow on the inside. I don't know if you can see. There we go. The shadow on the inside. The under area, also called bot, and the chain. Oh, yeah. Another thing that's very nice. For separating the sides, if you use Clip Studio Paint, I'm going to leave a asset from the Clip Studio Paint asset store here. That is an auto action that separates the right side from the left side automatically, and you don't have to worry too much about it. I'm going to leave it somewhere in the screen. Going on, we have the solo strand of hair there. Let me take the glasses off. With the solo strand, we have the bangs. I could have like separated them in two, but I decided to just use one because I was lazy, and there's nothing else I can say about that. We have the half up. That is this part here. Oh, not that one, this one. And then have the side hairs. For the head, I think the head is the part that has the most parts in it. So we have both eyes, and each eye has a tear, have the eyelids, the brows, the small lashes. I put all the lashes together on this one because I thought it would, like, I would use less things to rig them together instead of rigging them individually. And the top lash, that's the whole lash. Side, the little corner, the shadow inside the eye, the light on the lower part, the light on the top. Then we have the spiral that I didn't use because I didn't have enough parameters again. Then we have the normal pupil. I can't say that. I'm sorry. I can't say that word. The middle of the eye, you know, at that part. Then we have the iris. And we have the white. The other eye is the same thing. And we have the nose, the lip line, of the teeth, the tongue that I also did not use because no parameters. The inside of the mouth, the headline, the mask for the shadows, and then the overlay that I'm going to use as the shadow, the head collar, the head shadow under from the head from when you move. One thing that I'm going to tell you, if you watched a bunch of tutorials, you can see like sometimes people just change colors of things inside of Live 2D. The free version doesn't have that, so you have to, that's why I said that you have to plan, because like usually you could just do this inside of the, you can see like the purple, you can just use that inside of Live 2D itself, so it's easier. But if you're doing the free version, please remember to do this on the art itself. Then, okay, the head's done. Took out the head. Then we have the coat. We have one side of the collar and the shadow for that side. I decided to leave the shadows separated here because I want to give it a little bit more of a flowy thing, since it's such a big part of the upper torso. The other side of the collar, the shadow also, and then the strap. And as you can see here, I baked the shadows on the strap. There we go. Because I didn't need it to be too special. And then we have the sides. One side, the other side. One sleeve, the other sleeve. Then, let me take out the coat. Here, the back coat is just like the back and the collar. And the body, literally the body is just like two parts. The torso and the hips, and then I gave myself a little zipper as a little treat, just to have a little bit of physics in there. And then we have the legs, that's literally just both legs. And then here I have the arms separated because you have one arm that's like normal and has like the back of the sleeve, and then the other arm has, of course, the arm, the back of the sleeve, and then the two bandana wings. I call them wings. But I just decided to leave them separated because like I didn't see a reason to make another folder that is just called arms. So and then we have the back hair. That is literally just like the big part of the hair and the spiky up there. And that's pretty much it. And that pretty much is the process of how I made the art and how I separated the parts for my VTuber model. Hopefully this video can help and inspire you to make your own VTuber model. But you must be asking, Zoe, where's the rigging? Well, it's in another video. I'm so sorry I had to separate this, mostly because I have like 19 hours of rigging footage to go through, and that would be way too much to put in this video. So hopefully you can wait just a little bit more for the rigging video. I'm going to cut it up and explain how I work, and I also plan on releasing the whole footage of me rigging on a unlisted playlist after I release the video of the cut up process. And that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.